You are watching Access LaPorte County, Channel 97. Coming up next is the August 14th, 2023 meeting of the Long Beach Town Council. You can find more information for this meeting by visiting www.accesslaportecounty.org.
Opening remarks, I've added one agenda item that is labeled internal controls. We'll discuss that last under new business. Approval of minutes. First, the town council meeting of May the 8th, 2023. Usually I just skim these, but this one I read carefully. And I'm concerned about these minutes. There's a paragraph in them that discusses that month's what's the word? Agenda item to remove Tim Perry from office. I've read this carefully. It seems quite biased. I know these.
Recording stopped.
Oh, wait a minute. Did I do that?
Yeah.
Oh, well, okay, I need help. Wait a minute. Here we go.
Recording in progress.
All right, I'll start over. I have concerns about these minutes of May the 8th of 2023, particularly the part that discusses the removal of Tim Perry from office. That motion was not approved. However, the minutes are, I think, quite biased. They tend to trivialize Mr. Perry's misconduct. I would suggest that what we should do in place of what is in that paragraph of the minutes is to actually just put a transcription of what exactly was said. It won't be a whole lot of work, but I think it'll be much more accurate representation of what happened at that meeting. I'd like to note that those problems have continued with the clerk treasurer's office, largely due to this council's inaction. Number one, over $60 in interest and late fees have been charged to the town this month alone. We've had 3 post-due notices from our vendors, and we've had 3 checks that came back to the town that said did not clear from the bank. So I think these minutes need to reflect what really happened.
Well, what really happened is quite trivial, and if you would stop trying to vilify me at every opportunity, maybe you could do a better job of running the town council, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Perry.
Welcome.
I would like to not approve those minutes and have them resubmitted. I'll make that motion.
Where would Deanna get the information from?
She can get it off of Zoom.
Okay.
Yeah, I listened to it carefully, and it's quite intelligible. So I'd like to make that motion, that those minutes be redone. Is there a second?
I'll second the motion.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed?
Opposed.
Okay, I want to be sure then that the minutes of this meeting reflect exactly what I just said. Whoever's taking the notes out there. Because again, I don't want to be the one responsible for what's happening to the clerk treasurer's office, or at least not trying to fix it. Next are the minutes of the town council meeting of June 12th of 2023. Those minutes, there's just one small correction I think needs to be made. And that is
Okay, what made it there?
on,
Nola Gertner needs to mute her microphone.
and
Tell her.
that is during public comments. Vicky Snavor of 2305 Lakeshore Drive commented about council members bragging to the public of putting a caboose on the public safety building. I believe that was supposed to be kibosh. So if we could get that fixed, and if with that amendment, I'll make a motion to approve those minutes.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Next is the minutes of the special town council meeting of June 23rd. There, again, I have one concern, where in one of the paragraphs on the last page, It talked about how John Wall gave lengthy stories of his 45 years in the fire department. I don't think we need adjectives like lengthy. I would like to make a motion to strike that. And with that amendment, I'll go ahead and make a motion to approve those minutes. Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Really? Wow. All opposed?
Aye.
Opposed.
Okay, then I want that also in the minutes, that we asked.
Are we objecting to the word lengthy?
Yeah, that seems a bit pejorative, don't you think?
You have been on there 35 years, right?
No, lengthy stories, John.
Lengthy stories?
That was
Look,
what
John, here's the point of view of myself and Bob. These minutes are being politicized by the people that are putting them down in the minutes. So it's a little objectionable to me the way it's politicized. If you're going to take minutes from a meeting, you ought to have an objective look at the meeting minutes and summarize them with some kind of consistency. It's very obvious if you read the minutes what's going on. They're subjectively altered depending on who they're trying to represent. So I'm with Bob. I think if we can have more accurate minutes, I'd be happier. I don't think the way those were put together were objective by any stretch.
With that explanation, John, do you want to change your vote about?
No.
Where's the objective? Whereabouts on?
Well, if you want to pound through the minutes, we can do that. I don't.
No, I just want to know where is it he wants to amend it? I'm not reading it.
Well,
What page?
It's the second page, about halfway down. Actually, it's the third paragraph from the end. Starts off with Wall, then gives his lengthy stories of his 45 years in the fire department. So lengthy is describing the stories, not how long he served on the fire department.
not only that, the comments that I were making when she talks about one of my comments, she puts one specific line comment in there without referring at all to the gist of the conversation, which was that the septic permit was politicized. People on the council, as well as other individuals in the town, politicized that by getting a hold of people at the health departments. That was the gist of the conversation. Instead, we get a one-liner about, my language, which, again, I don't want to belabor the thing. I don't think Bob does either, but it's very obvious that the meeting minute notes are being politicized.
So with that change, John, do you want to change your vote?
No.
No, I'm John Coker.
I
don't.
I don't think it's that important, but
Nope.
if it means to approve the minutes, I'll approve them. I don't care.
All right, so all in favor of the amended minutes, say aye.
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 John, were you an aye?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All opposed?
Opposed.
Opposed.
Okay, so those minutes will be changed. Committee reports. Police Department Commission.
Did you do the town council one on July 10th?
That's pending.
Okay.
That's not out there
All right.
yet. So Chief?
Good evening, everyone. For the month of July, the Long Beach Police Department responded to 328 calls for service when compared to 245 calls for service in the previous year, for an increase of 83 calls for service. During the month of July, 22 incident reports were documented. A total of 13 individuals were arrested. 1 felony arrest for operating a motor vehicle while intoxicated with a previous conviction. A felony arrest for a vehicle pursuit with multiple drug charges. That pursuit actually ended just over the Indiana-Michigan line. And we had 11 misdemeanor arrests. 1 was for resisting law enforcement and disorderly conduct. A warrant arrest out of St. Joe County. 5 individuals were arrested for traffic-related offenses, and 5 arrests for operating a motor vehicle while intoxicated. We still continue. In the month of July, we had at least 1 individual that was arrested on a golf cart while intoxicated with children present on the golf cart. I cannot emphasize enough the importance of not operating a golf cart while intoxicated. It's no different than a motor vehicle, and especially when you have children present, it actually elevates the charge to a felony charge. I'd like to talk about a couple of incidents from the month of July. Back on July 5th, Deputy Matthew Farthing assisted the Michigan City Fire Department in the 600 block in Nahas, just off of US 12. During the response to this call, he was first on scene A male was observed walking back to the actual scene of a fully engulfed house that was on fire. While speaking to the individual, he made statements about the particular fire while reaching for a handgun in his waistband. Deputy Farthing acted very quickly, was able to take the individual into custody and recover the firearm without being injured. I'd like to commend him for his actions on that day. Then on July 13th, we had a personal injury accident in front of Hacienda. On that particular morning, an elderly Long Beach resident was observed traveling southbound on Carwick Road, also known as Chastleton Drive, appeared to have lost consciousness, struck a tree, broke her arm during the actual accident, and Deputy Yagelski was able to apply a tourniquet to the injured arm to stop some of the bleeding until the paramedics had arrived. So excellent job by Deputy Yagelski, and also the response that we received from the Long Beach Fire Department. Their response also aided in this injury. And then lastly, I'd like to talk about a gun recovery at Stop 24. Back on July 27th, Deputy Matthew Farthing, while on routine patrol, observed a suspicious vehicle parked in the 10-minute loading zone at Stop 24. Upon confronting the vehicle, he observed a Glock handgun inside the vehicle. He eventually confronted 5 individuals that were associated to the vehicle. None of them were residents of the town, and he is currently seeking search warrants for DNA samples to figure out who was the actual owner of the gun. And again, he did an excellent job, heads up patrolling by Deputy Farthing. And then lastly, I talked about this last month, the grant that we applied through the Indiana Criminal Justice Institute. I was just contacted this morning that we are receiving 3 new laptop computers for our patrol cars, to include printers and handheld scanners, all at no cost to the town. And this was through a state-funded grant through the Indiana Criminal Justice Institute that we will be picking up in the next couple of weeks. And that's all I have for now.
Okay, and then the town administrator report, Chief.
I can cover those on the agenda as we come across those.
Great. Volunteer Fire Department, Tom Yemk. Oh, you got Ron. Kirk.
Yeah. Nice to know that blend in.
Turn on your mic.
You gotta hold that down for a second. There you go. It's on.
There you go. My voice usually carries, so I usually don't need it, but good evening to the town. Mr. Yemps is out of town, so he asked me to sub in today, which I was happy to do. Presently, for the month of July, we had 10 calls of a fire-related nature. Year-to-date, 42 calls, as opposed to this time last year, 34 calls. On the medical side, we had 10 calls for the month of July. Total medical calls for the year, 58, as opposed to 45 this time last year. Year-to-date average response for a fire call, 4.53 minutes. Year-to-date overall average response for medical calls is 4.29 minutes. And to date, members have donated at least 1,609 volunteer hours to the service of the town of Long Beach. A few other points that I would like to bring to the courts, or to the courts, put on my other hat, to the town's attention. One is that obviously the numbers are higher, and we anticipate those numbers to be higher, I think, both on the police side and the fire side. Perhaps there's some of it matter going down once the summer ends, but we've had a lot of permanent residents, so obviously we think that that's going to continue. Our reminder also about the issue of power lines. We've had a lot of power lines down the last month or two, urging everyone to be very cautious. If you see that, report it, keep your distance. Just because you are at a distance does not mean you're out of danger, especially in times of storms. Water can transmit the electricity. If those power lines are down, they are a danger. Last couple of calls we've had, they've actually melted the blacktop. This is very serious, and again, if you see it, call it in from a distance, whether it's sparking or not, and then we'll take care of it and then turn that over to NIPSCO or the appropriate agency. I also want to highlight that once again tonight, the members of the fire department are at the training facility on Hitchcock Road in Michigan City, braving the high rain, training on hose. This is the third time they've been out there this year, and we anticipate maybe one more time before the year is out. So obviously we're taking as much time, even though we're in the transition period with the public safety building, to continue to make sure that our training is sharp in case we are needed. Along the lines of training, I want to thank Chief Swistek and his staff. Recently they put on a demonstration of the drone. So we can hopefully work with that and understand it a little bit better. The last structure fire that we had, that I obviously had an injury at, that was very helpful in finding hot spots, which was very helpful in mitigating the amount of times we had to come out. They've made that available to us whenever we need it. Also the ATV that they had, they also let us use that as well, so we can use that if we need to for beach emergencies or other matters. So we want to thank Chief Swistek for the incredible cooperation we've had for the service of the town. Also him providing some needed office space for us during our transition so our people can do our computer reporting and things of that nature, so we thank him for that accommodation as well. We are almost out of the old station. I believe the demolition is scheduled for at or about or after September 1st of this year. We'll be out on or before that time. Right now, this is kind of a skeleton over there. We've got a lot of it in the semi-trailer. And then, of course, we're in the process of transitioning to the town garage. And we thank the town for allowing us to use that for this time frame. So that's in the process of happening. And we also want to highlight the fact that we're going to have a groundbreaking ceremony a week from Friday. I believe it's the 25th at 10 o'clock. We certainly invite and urge the town board members who've been so supportive to be there for that momentous occasion, so we can enjoy that official groundbreaking. The ground obviously has been broken, but this will be an official thing with shovels and things of that nature. So we'd urge also to attend that momentous occasion. Is there any questions for the town?
So they moved to Carwick, the truck and everything?
The engines will be moving once, about a week or so before the building is to be demolished. We're going to move the engines out to the town garage. Okay. And they'll be housed there for safekeeping, getting out of the elements, until we can move back in at a later date, which might be just a few months from now, but I'll leave that to John to give you an update on that if need be. But that way we make sure they're not out in the elements, because you just never know what can happen. We don't want them sitting out in the open. Right. Too much for damage, and also people that tend to take things, because things can be taken off those trucks, and even though the police do a very good job of monitoring, they can't watch everything. And again, it's going to get cold here relatively quickly, and the last thing we want is to have a bunch of snow on them. So they'll be out there, and we'll be out there on a temporary basis, but still ready to preserve and protect the town of Long Beach. Questions?
Thanks, Kurt.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Fire Commission, John.
Fire Commission met, there were just a couple of us there. Probably ought to look at summer meetings schedules, but at any rate, we discussed the public safety building a little bit, and we also talked about fire truck financing. I do have a little bit of news on that. I spoke with Carl Sender earlier today. He intends to go out and try to get some bank quotes for the fire truck financing so that we can put that together before the end of the year. He'll probably coordinate with Clerk Perry. I think Tim had maybe started some of that, but at any rate, we'll try to get some local banks involved as well in that effort. That's all I've got for the Fire Commission.
Okay. Public Works, Mary Lou.
We did not meet in the month of July, so we will be meeting in the month of August, fourth Monday of the month.
Park Board, Joy.
Good evening, everyone. Park Board met on July 25th. We'd like to give a huge thank you to the Long Beach Police Department, the Beach Garden Club, Sarah, and the summer camp counselors and the participating artists for another successful Art in the Park. Also, for the first time ever, I think summer camp this year has paid for itself, plus some change, so kudos to Sarah for making that happen. The railings at Stop 21 and Stop 23 have been completed. We have a $500 bid from Arndt to cover up the pickleball stripes on the basketball court over by the community center. The Long Beach Country Club Board of Directors has no objection, so Parks is seeking approval of council to proceed with that project.
Why do we want to cover it up?
We never wanted pickleball over there.
I know that, but if we're not using it, do we?
People are using it. They're dragging the nets over there, they're ruining the nets, and they're playing over there.
Okay, I didn't know that. I do walk, but I haven't seen them over there.
Yeah, they have been, so for $500, that would be our proposal to paint over them.
Okay.
Joy, you need a vote from us on that?
Yes.
I'll make a motion to approve the $500.
I'll second it.
Discussion. All in favor, say aye.
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 Thank you. Meeting was held at Stop 15 with neighboring residents and Global Engineering to discuss the preliminary design of the ADA stop and the emergency beach access location. Global will be submitting the pre-grant application this month, and the hope for all of us, including the residents, is to make the least amount of impact on the landscape as possible. So we want to be clear that we will be going over the foredune, not bulldozing it. A lot of people were worried that we were going to bulldoze the dune. So as soon as we hear back from them, that project will be progressing. Hopefully the coastal grant will know maybe by December or January whether or not we got it. Park Board is handling all the funding and the getting the grant going, which is about $40,000.
Is Stop 15 Blanchard Court?
No, that's Stop 14.
Okay, one up.
And lastly, the Park Board was tasked by the council to identify and propose a plan for encroachment at the stops. So we're currently looking at Stop 29. So I provided a survey for everyone there. And our original issue was, you'll see, it's kind of small, but you'll see some green trees, which are evergreens down there, that were planted last year by the homeowner to the west. And so we asked that those be removed because we thought they were on town property, but we weren't sure. So we had this survey done, and clearly they're on town property. The problem is the homeowner put them in because they wanted to block their view of people coming down to the beach, but now the people coming down to the beach have their view blocked of the lake. So the Park Board, after getting the survey done, you can see that their driveway at the top is like 6 feet onto town property. Now, they received a access and maintenance easement from the town, so they are allowed to use that. We would ask, the Park Board would ask that the trees be removed, and I think Mr. Vortman said that will be no problem. And
can we save them for something?
They're his trees, so I think he'll plant them somewhere else.
They're little.
Pardon me?
They're little enough.
They're fairly small now, not little, but they're going to be really big.
Yeah.
The only question we had, so we were going to ask that those trees be removed. We would like to put a split rail fence along the area that shows the town property, like we've done at other stops. And the question we have, you can see there's a gravel road coming down, or gravel something coming down from the back of their residence.
Like that? That part?
Right.
Okay.
And so we're not sure what happens on that little gravel road, but it is on town property, so our question is liability. I think that would be a question for Chris. Is the town liable for anything that happens on that area?
What do they use it for?
I have no idea what they use it for.
I mean, is it?
I would guess they use it to get their toys and stuff to the beach.
Okay.
But I don't know if that's a liability issue or if the town wants to do something about that or not. It really does not affect people going down to the beach. But we were concerned about liability.
We don't know who put it in.
No, I don't know.
And so the thought is that the homeowner to the west is using that to bring toys down, or people are, other people?
Yes, that would be my guess.
Other people?
Yes.
No, you can't get to it. So this brown thing is his actual drive over there.
Yeah.
So he's going down there on his own property. Well, partly our property easement and his property.
Yeah.
And then when you get down here, then he's got this little stub down here.
And
It doesn't really access the beach per se, it accesses the front of his house is essentially what it does.
And is that gravel part on his property or on town property?
No, that's-
Town property.
This is a weird lot.
It
This is
is.
supposed to be traded or something.
With Jacobson's years ago, when the
Yes.
garage was in the wrong spot, and then they traded Jacobson's property.
Is there any usage of it that you perceive for the town?
No.
Based on what you're doing? Might I suggest, liability is a funny thing, and I hate to say you're not liable or you are, because if someone makes a claim and something happens there, someone other than us is going to decide that. But might I suggest that if you're inclined to look at it, and if it is being used, that somehow we wrap it into, you know, a maintenance, similar type easement where they're responsible and then they indemnify the town, so that you're not disrupting what might have been there for a long time. So just a thought, especially if you don't have plans for that area. If there are plans, then that's a different conversation.
That may be something you guys want to think about, what happens to that gravel road. Right now, we would just ask if it's okay that we ask the homeowner to remove the trees and let them know that we're going to put split rail fencing to denote the town property.
And if we were to try and remedy the situation of that gravel road, I mean, what would we do?
Well, the park board would like to turn it all into dune grass, but that would be an expensive project as well.
Not something you guys are prepared to do now?
Not this year, no. Probably not next year.
Okay.
And that's it. Any questions about park board?
Okay.
Thank you, Joy.
Community center, Joe.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, do we need a vote on the trees?
I don't know, do you?
Wouldn't know why, they're on town property.
Yeah, we can always remove trees on town property.
What, but you'll let them know.
Yes, Zach already talked to him about it, and I
Okay.
think they're very willing to
right.
move the trees.
Any other questions about park board? Community center, Joe.
Community center met earlier today. We had lengthy discussions regarding maintenance issues and the community center capital and operating budgets. And they asked me to ask the council for some help getting copies of the NIPSCO bills. We haven't been able to get those from the clerk's office. We always used to get them, but we haven't had any since February.
I'll get those.
Thank you.
I'm sure I can get them.
We could
I know
use them.
somebody there.
We could use them all for this year.
Just so you keep a record.
This
Is that Deanna?
is Deanna. I can get those. It used to be a normal, everyday thing that I did, but, you know, with so many people changing hands in the office, it's not something I can't get very quickly. So I'll send those, Joy.
Thank you, Deanna. We could use them for the whole year.
From January?
If you
I think we had them through February, but if you can get them from January, that would be great.
Maybe it's just her, All right.
Any questions on the community center? Okay, that's it. Thank you very much.
Budget and finance, who's gonna do that one?
I can take it. Budget and Finance met on August 9th. We had a fairly extensive meeting. Essentially, we started the meeting with department heads presenting their capital needs and their rough idea of what they wanted to do with some of their budget items for the coming year for the budget process, which we need to finalize a rough draft of by the end of August. So the budget working group has tasked themselves with having a meeting before the end of the month to try to pound that out, along with the center and the clerk's office. And then after we did the department presentations on their budgets and capital requests, then we went into our standard budget and finance meeting. Trista Hudson from Center was there, and she helped us with some new projections on 2022 closeouts. I think at that point there was a little bit left to be done in terms of some housekeeping items, but essentially she's confident that we've got 22 numbers pretty well in hand. She did send out to all of the council members a revised set of financial statements for the year 2022. We talked about the quarterly and mid-year financial statements. They're going to continue to provide information to us and work with the clerk's office and the council to keep those financial statements current. Unfinished business, we talked about the cash management. We do have quite a bit of money in CDs right now. I think they're going to adjust those positions to be a little more accurate in terms of where our cash needs are on a monthly basis. But yeah, we are making some interest. Clerk reported on that at a prior meeting, and that continues to happen. So we're in a better position in terms of what cash is in CDs. Trista's making some recommendations. We probably overcommitted on one that's going out, I think. So the working group will have a more succinct report for you guys at the next meeting after we kind of finalize where we're at with the budgets and where we're at with some of the account balances. CCMG, we talked about capital plan we already worked about. Public Works, we have the bids this evening. In fact, I'd like to make recommend that we maybe open those bids. Haas Engineering, or Haas and Associates is here tonight. Maybe if we could move those forward, right after this report, rather than having him stay all night. Fire truck financing, public safety building, we talked about the check verification system. I think we've worked the bugs out of that, or will shortly if we haven't already. And then the budget process was discussed. That was about all of it, unless you have any other comments, Mike, as far as. So I don't know if Clerk Perry has anything else on that, but essentially that's the extent of the budget and finance report.
Do you want to, okay, which ones would I be? Because I've got Tom Carlson, I've got Grimmer Construction, and I've got Woodruff.
What was the first one we did?
H&G Underground.
Okay, so we have 3 bids then. At this point, normally what the procedure would be is we pop those open and read the lump sum base bid from each of the 3 contractors, and then they'd be referred to the engineer and the attorney for further review. There won't be an award this evening, it would just be reading the bids.
So it's all for the same project?
Yes, this is the water service project, the Lakeshore Drive.
Okay,
Yeah, the Lakeshore Drive Water Service Project.
so this is for the public works group.
So this is your department site.
Oh, Lord.
Is there a way to summarize what they have written?
A lot.
Well, if you want to pass it down, you're just looking for the lump sum. Sam, do you want to come up here and help us with the lump sum paperwork? It should be 1 page with the bid on it, Mary. There's all kinds of information in there, but you only need really 1 number. I'm sorry. Sam represents Haas and Associates. He knows the paperwork well enough to find the base bid number.
And then we'll put that one back in. Good, Sam, don't make me look bad.
So this is.
Okay, so this is from, what was the name of this one? This was from H&G Underground Utilities.
Yeah.
And it's that number?
H&G.
$1,774,121.50. Should I be writing that down?
Yeah.
Okay.
As long as you just we'll keep the paperwork.
All right, Sam, stay up here, don't leave me.
Figure out that one too? I'll put this on top of here.
I'll do this one.
Let's save them now, Billy.
Thank you. Okay, and so this is from, it's on this one. This is from Grimmer Construction out of Highland, Indiana, and their total is $1,381,562.50.
And we're reading the base bid numbers, correct, Sam?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. And then,
Thanks. This is the last one.
Grimmer,
This one's from
G-R-I-M-M-E-R.
That's how we kept you up here.
Never heard of them. You heard of
One more.
it's that one. that you
Woodruff.
got. Woodruff.
Yeah, this, right?
Yes.
That goes with that.
them? Woodruff.
And this is from Woodruff, $699,687.88.
Well, seems like.
And that's base bid?
Yes.
That concerns me, 699.
You can just put us in a pile as long as we got them on top of them.
If you pass those back to me, I'll fix them.
I can take that.
So typically what's done, and Chris, correct me if I'm wrong, but Chris, the town attorney will review those for the paperwork that's required, the legal paperwork that's required, and then Haas,
Sam, why don't you stay up there? I'm gonna.
If there should be copies, then it will be, so I'm gonna take the copies and we'll review and then forward to you.
for those at home, what Sam just stated was that he will take a copy of each bid to review and make a recommendation to the town, and then Chris will review the legal paperwork at the point where that recommendation is made. We appreciate it, Sam, and you're certainly welcome to stay if you'd like, but
No,
if you want to take your copies.
He's got more to do. Sam, in appreciation for what you just did for us, I'm gonna change the order of the agenda. We're gonna put the private sewers. We're gonna put the private sewers next on the agenda, because I think you want to discuss that too, right? Okay. So we're switching the agenda here to private sewers. That's again from Haas Engineering. And can we figure out who's doing that?
Anybody that's not talking, shut your microphone off.
What'd you say?
If you're not talking, shut your microphone off, because that's.
Oh, me?
I don't know. We'll see. So this is regarding the private sewers from the properties on Lake Shore Drive. And so, and a couple of concerns that I have now, I know we saw further plans from you guys.
Is that old business?
That is under unfinished business, yeah. And your new plans now, you're not going to be digging on Lake Shore Drive or Chastleton, I understand. Is that correct?
Actually, we are still going to install it along Lakeshore Drive.
But not Chastleton.
And Chastleton. But we are not going to be doing any work within the pavement. So
Right, so
it's
no
going to
digging
be-
in the pavement.
No digging in the pavement.
So I'll be in the right of way, but not on the pavement?
Yes.
Okay, so that's good, that's progress. Couple of concerns that I had, and there are probably gonna be more. But I think we're gonna need to come up, your attorneys and our attorneys are gonna come up with need to come up with a maintenance agreement. Because if this thing malfunctions, particularly in the dead of winter, and we got poop bubbling up from the right-of-way, not the pavement, we still need to make sure somebody's going to fix that, and that shouldn't really be the town's responsibility. We need to come up with a lease agreement because you are on the right-of-way. We need to figure out what happens if your LLC goes belly up, because the town doesn't want to be holding the bag, so we're going to need to see that LLC agreement. And then, of course, you guys are going to have to be responsible for the attorney fees for all this negotiation, because again, this shouldn't be the town's deal, because it's not going to be really an asset the town's going to benefit from, except for those property owners. And then finally, we need to see the agreement, at least these are my concerns, we need to see the agreement between the LLC and Michigan City Sanitary. Those are the concerns that I had. Now, are there other concerns, Chris?
No, at some point, it's been some time, Attorney Wojcik and I have been in communication long ago when started picking up some momentum, so I would anticipate that he will propose the form of documents to get it rolling, so I haven't seen those yet.
Okay. So I guess at this point, we need to hear from your attorney about that. We need to make sure you guys are okay with the attorney fees before our attorney continues talking with your attorney. And then, anybody, I don't know if I guess we need to see those agreements before we give final.
Yeah, and I'll copy you. I'll reach out to Mr. Wojcik too, just so we're all in the same loop.
Okay.
So do we want to give Sam a copy of, okay, you're going to take the whole shooting
Is
match?
that all right? Because you got the numbers written down.
You can sort of go.
Yeah, I can take all the names.
Yeah, there you go.
Great. Super. So I think with Sam, if everybody's good, I mean, we don't have any more we need to do with that. I think you can actually go home and see your family.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you. Next up, Human Resources, Mary Lou.
We did not meet in the month of August. We will be meeting in the month of September because we're gearing up for the salary survey.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
We did not meet in the month of August. We will be gearing up for the month of September. We'll be working on salary surveys and on the new costs of the medical insurance and some other things.
Okay, next up, Tree Board, Ellen Lynch.
I turn this on?
It's on.
Oh, okay. I'm Ellen Lynch, Tree Board. We did not meet this month because we did not meet this month because the chairman had COVID. So I had COVID. My husband had COVID. It was crazy. Anyway, but we did finish the tree ordinance, and thank you very much, Mr. LeMay, for all the help he helped me with this, going through it and editing it and putting all the fine tuning on it. So the tree ordinance is completed, and hopefully you guys will be able to vote on it soon. Any questions? If any of you have read it, you can reach out to me, or you can ask me questions now. I don't think this is the day to do that, though.
Okay.
Okay? Yeah.
Let's move that item along.
Okay.
We'll see, maybe my microphone's not the problem. We'll find out. So I think let's consider that tree ordinance. We'll again change the agenda order. I think everybody's had a chance to read it. Ellen and I got together and made some amendments.
He caught all my mistakes, is what he did.
Well, I don't know about that, but I guess difference of opinion.
Yeah.
One thing that I saw was section 99.11. And that would basically just say that the notification of the property owner when we're going to be taking down trees adjacent to their property needs to apply to both sections 9910 and 9911.
Okay, 10 and 11.
Again, I penciled those in, and we can maybe give them to Chris, and you can maybe make those changes, Chris. I'll get together with you and we can do that.
Okay.
And then one other place, section 99.15, there's a sentence, boy, my eyes are not working tonight. You know, I can't do this. Can you read that sentence for me? Okay. The right there, change. Here.
Requesting review hearing within 5 days of the property owner notification.
Right,
Yeah.
so what I was saying was within so I want to make sure.
This is for an appeal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is basically, we want to make it 5 days from when the notification is received by the property owner as opposed
So
to
you want me to clarify that?
from when the tree board makes the
Okay.
decision. Yeah.
Okay. So 9511, 9515, and I'll do that, all right? I can do that and then send it to you?
Okay.
You want all right?
I can talk to you about it again too, that just,
Okay, I'm only a block away.
So we'll postpone it? Because
well, I think, yeah.
Yeah,
unless-
It's okay.
If you guys are okay with it, with the amendments, because they're not really big material change, in my opinion.
Well, do we sign it? Deanna's got the copy here, or do we wait to?
We don't want to sign it until
Okay.
we've seen it.
right.
Let me just remind you of the process. Since you're just considering it tonight, you'd have to unanimously and then go through that
Oh, okay.
song and dance. You could approve it on first reading if you want, and then that way you'd be prepared to finalize it, or unless everybody wants to
next-
see
Yeah, I
a
think
clean
that's
copy before you consider it, so
that's
that's your
probably the
pleasure.
best way to do it. And then just minor editorial change. Violation of this ordinance may be subject to fines in accordance with chapter 154.211 of the zoning code. We just want to
Yeah,
make sure it's
yeah,
clear that
okay.
everybody knows where we're at. So I guess let's make those changes.
Okay.
In fact, you know what? I can give this to you.
Okay.
And if you can read my handwriting. If you can't read my handwriting or figure out what I'm doing, because I write pretty small.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yeah, we'll get it done. I appreciate it. Thank you.
So should we make a motion to approve it based on the amendments tonight?
My suggestion is you wait till you have a clean copy.
Okay.
We can do that? Okay, I'm fine with that. Okay, so we dealt with something else further down too. Building commission, that is me. Good, my eyes are all bad. So building commission met twice since the last meeting. And I'm just gonna kind of hit the highlights regarding the beach stairs. Lou Mellon and I are going to go down and see if some of the beach stairs that were initially felt to be illegal according to our ordinances have now been fixed, because it's been quite a while since we did that. So we're going to go down, and hopefully I'll be on my bike and he'll be on a four-wheeler down there, and we'll make sure that we've got that all figured out, because we don't want to send letters out to people who have already corrected the problem. MS4 requirements, we're going to be getting a sample ordinance from Reggie, who's our consultant on MS4, and that'll start through the process of getting approved, hopefully. The Captain's Walk property, they were approved to do the excavation on the condition that if the building is not approved, they're going to need to put that excavation back to its initial state. And so it's up to them whether they want to start excavation or not. And
They have.
Yeah, well, I figured they had. And then 2300 Hazeltine, Lou is going to get together with Chris to go over the violations at that property. There was work done that was never approved, and so that is forthcoming. And then we met also on August the 11th. And again, just to hit the highlights, building department software is moving forward. We've got this payment system called PayRock that's part of this program. It would allow contractors to pay online, but right now, discussing it with Larry, the thought was let's implement the system now, not the PayRock part of the system, and then later decide if we want to do that. We just felt that would create more confusion than we already have at the clerk's office, so we're going to hold off on that. And who knows, the whole system may not be implemented until December anyway. Solar ordinance is still pending. There's going to be a workshop between the APC, Town Council, and Building Commission to go over that. We want to make sure that we have that solar ordinance set up just exactly how we want to do it and we don't create any confusion. Part of that workshop about the solar ordinance also is going to include a careful review of that Captain's Walk property. That building's going to be 12,000 square feet. It's going to have, I believe, 7 bedrooms. There's going to have to be some discussion as to whether or not that property is going to conform with both our ordinances and our comprehensive plan. 2515 Chastleton, work was done without a permit, without a registered contractor. Decision was made that both the contractor and the owner are going to be fined $500 as per our ordinance. And that's it from Building Commission. Did I just bury everything? No. Okay. Next on the agenda, Board of Zoning Appeals. They did not meet, and in fact, the meeting for tomorrow was canceled. They just didn't have any agenda items. Advisory Plan Commission did not have a meeting. They will be meeting tomorrow, but all they're going to be considering is addresses for 2 properties, so that should be fairly easy. And what? Next, I'm sorry, I said tomorrow? Yeah, next Monday, I'm sorry. Yeah.
How's the APC meeting next Monday?
Next Monday, but all they're going to consider is 2 addresses. So I think Captain's Walk and one other one. Okay, building permit and revenue report. Mr. Perry, are you out there?
I'm out here. Am I unmuted on your side?
We hear you.
Okay, thank you. Building permit revenue report for July 2023, 20 permits totaling permits of $3,039,520 with revenue of $6,150. 1 electric permit for $111. And legal expenses paid in July, $6,100, Brazy, Nelson, and Janes. I will entertain a motion for approval.
So moved. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Unfinished business. Stop 29 project update. I think we already did that, right?
Stop 29 project, I'm sorry.
Is that the thing with Hinton Park Board or?
No.
Okay,
So the Stop 29 project update is essentially about the lawsuit situation.
Yeah.
I had a email conversation with Joseph Smith, who represents our insurance company attorney, or is our insurance company attorney. He tells me that the process is still in the works. The check from the town is in his office's hands, and the conversations are continuing between the property owners' attorneys and him. and he hopes to have that wrapped up very quickly. Right now, we're just waiting on the property owner's attorneys in terms of the dismissal of the lawsuits. We're very close to finishing that up.
Great. Civic upgrade to the cloud, update. Is that from Mr. Perry? Civic upgrade?
Yes, it should be all done. A few little hitches with the learning curve and the software, getting K+ to talk to Civic and back and forth. We've all got new passwords and new authentication in order to go on the system, which requires the use of our cell phones, which don't always have the best reception in our little town, as everyone knows. But I believe we're all set. It's all on the cloud now. Senator's office can access Civic remotely, which was really one of the points of doing this. So I would say we're 90% done with a few tweaks to work out.
Great. Stop 17 and 18 project, okay, yeah, go ahead.
So the Stop 1718 project, as you know, the council approved the process to continue through bidding so that we can see what the number actually winds up at and we can decide whether we can afford it or not. There are some invoices in from Haas and Associates. It looks like there's a total on the agenda. I'm not sure if that's correct, but it says 24,000. We just need to make sure we approve those. So those are for the engineering work for the bidding process, which is ready to go on the 17 and 18 project.
So you want to make a motion?
Just, I'd make a motion for the approval of payment. We already actually authorized the engineering and the bidding process in the earlier sessions, but.
Make a motion to approve. Is there a second?
I didn't hear a second. Did you move or did I move?
I made the motion.
You made the motion. I'll second it.
Discussion. All in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Okay.
Okay, so my understanding about that project is that we have collected $345,000 in that fund, which is the wastewater fund.
Stormwater fund, yeah.
Stormwater fund, yeah. But we're projecting the cost is going to be $350,000 to $600,000. So we may have to wait a while on that, but the engineering is done.
Correct. So the thought was to finalize where we're at. Number one, we're still finalizing the accounting so that we know exactly what's in that fund. But Trista did tell us exactly what you described, that there's like 345 in that fund. So the idea is get the bids in, see where the numbers fall, and then make a decision about affordability at that point. Because right now, with the supply chain issues and everything else, the engineering estimates typically were pretty accurate historically, but with the environment we're in right now with costs and inflationary issues, so we wanted to try to get some real numbers in. So it's ready for bidding, which again we all approved to do, and with this approval that we just did, that'll proceed to the final bid, and then we'll get some numbers. What we're going to try to do is allow them to do this project through the winter rather than tie them to a specific date. So that was what was discussed, but we won't it won't proceed past bidding until the council approves that project, the expenditure for the rough, for whatever funds come in, whatever the prices come in at.
Okay, public safety building, progress update.
Public safety building update. A couple things have happened, positive things, I would say. The building did show up. It looks like an erector set out there. If you've been by the site, you can see that. The design team has made their final color choices on some of the major long lead time items. NIPSCO did relocate the 2 poles, so we're in good shape. That was a safety issue on the north end of the project. Concrete foundations are dug and formed up, and they'll be starting to pour concrete, I believe, tomorrow. In terms of the logistics for the scheduling, Tom Dolph has been just uber cooperative. We've been very pleased together. We've worked on, number one, getting all the furnishings and things out of our building. And I know Mark is working on getting the police department's things out of the small garage so that the demolition can occur right after Labor Day. Tom's been very gracious. We were actually in the process of moving some of our equipment and then eventually the trucks over to the street garage, where we hope to have them in there only long enough that the building is ready to put the trucks back in the new building so that we don't interrupt Tom's plowing schedule when the cold weather hits. We do have the groundbreaking. Kurt Ernst, one of the co-chiefs on the fire department, mentioned that the groundbreaking is on 8/25, which is Friday, a week from this Friday at 10 a.m. We encourage the public to attend. we will have some refreshments from Al's Carwick that are donating those to our cause, and we look forward to seeing everybody out there for the groundbreaking on the 25th.
Great. Public safety building septic system update.
I'm not sure why that's on the agenda. Essentially, we did get a letter from the LaPorte County Health Department stating that we can do one of the alternates that we were proposing, which is holding tanks. That means we'd be on a pump and haul. They're requesting 6,000 gallons, which I don't think we'll have to pump them for about 10 years if that's the case. But so right now we do have that letter that says that we can use holding tanks in lieu of trying to tie into the existing septic system. So essentially, we're in good shape there. We hope to maybe appeal for a little different system, but right now we do have that as our ace in the hole.
What's the cost of that, John?
Sorry?
What's the cost?
We don't have costs yet. We just got the letter this week, so we do have to present that. We have to actually, the next stage of that process is getting something drawn up. We have to talk to Haas, get something drawn up, and present that back and get some cost information from the contractor. So we'll have that for town council consideration just as soon as we can.
When in the process, are we going to then also get plans for a permanent septic system?
This would be the permanent septic system that's been approved to date. If we want to try for a different system, we have to apply again. So this was our application that they're approving at this point for this particular system. If we want to try to do a different system, meaning either build a new septic system or tie into an existing system, or perchance talk to the club and get into their system somehow, we'd have to present that to the public health officials again, which we may try to do. But right now, this would be one option that we can do without having to do any more design work. I don't know if that answers your question or not, Chad.
Yeah, I just hope we don't have to pay for it twice, that's all.
Right, right. So again, this would be the system of, that would get us out of the hole. So when you say pay for it twice, I'm confused. What do you mean?
Pay for it twice in that we'd have the holding system that you're talking about, and then go ahead and put a more permanent system in, whether we expand the present system or build a whole new system over on Long Beach Country Club property. I don't know. I mean, that's what we're gonna do to begin with, but it didn't work out.
Right, that didn't work out because everybody petitioned the two health departments, and we got into this bag where they made us do this whole.
Well, but we couldn't have gone into that system anyway, but that's neither here nor there right now.
Okay, next up, interlocal agreement with LaPorte County regarding inspections. We've all seen this, I think. Chris, I'm looking at it. The only change I see on the final one is in C on page 2, says the town planning department, and it probably ought to be the town clerk's office will electronically transmit. That's how we do it now. I would imagine that's what we want to do. So when a permit application comes in, Deanna would say, oh, this is an electrical permit, it goes to Michigan
Is that
State.
the version I sent you today?
That is the version sent today, yeah.
I think they sent the wrong, the language is the town or its designee will send. So.
Okay, yeah.
So we'll prove with that. I don't think you have the right version. And then the only other one was verification that the inspection fee went up from 50 to 100. That the county plan commission decided that across the board for anybody who has an interlocal agreement.
Okay.
Then updated the date. So with that language that the town or its designee, that way it's open-ended.
That's fine. Yeah, so as long as we change it from, because we don't have a planning department per se.
So you can go ahead and sign it.
Yeah, that language in there has been approved between us, so I'm not sure what version. So if you have that signature page, I'll take care of making sure.
So I'll make a
the
motion
proper
to approve the
version.
interlocal agreement.
But
Is there a
need the
second?
clerk to sign it as well.
I'll second it.
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
So should I keep this for Deanna and then she give it to you?
That's fine.
Okay, do you want to sign it?
I guess I can do
Thank you.
that. Okay, cell tower lease recommendation. Mark, I think you made that recommendation, right?
Yes, about 3 months ago, the town had received an initial proposal from Tower Point to buy out the current lease for our cell phone tower that's located on town property across from Hacienda. Shortly thereafter, Dr. LeMay had asked that we reach out to Vertical Consultants, which is a consulting group which has experience in cell phone tower lease buyouts. I spoke with their CEO at length, had a few email conversations with him as well, and they had reviewed TowerPoint's proposal to the town and also reviewed our current lease, which we receive $931.70 a month for a total income of $11,180 per year. Their recommendation to the town of Long Beach was that we remain in our current lease agreement and not to move forward with the TowerPoint proposal. So that is their recommendation to the town council, is that we pass on the current proposal that is in front of you.
So does anybody on the council have any objection to that recommendation?
No.
All right, then we don't need to vote. I like that. Holiday Construction Group, draw/invoice number 4, $51,568. That's an invoice we need to approve. I'll make a motion to approve. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Americo Incorporated Environmental Report, existing fire station and police garage building. Mark?
So essentially, because of the environmental environment, I guess you could say, that we're in, or the regulatory environment that we're in, you have to do a survey of your building before you demolish it. Essentially what it amounts to is, if you have something that's environmentally dangerous, then you have to make sure that you manifest that particular material into a different landfill than you do for a regular landfill. This report basically states that while there are some trace elements of in the glue, I think under the tile, potentially a little bit of asbestos potentially in that glue, and then a little bit in the wood and the glazing along the windows, that you have to keep that into a regular landfill. You can't put it in a construction fill landfill, meaning where just concrete and brick and sand and those kinds of things go. So this was always intended to go to a regular landfill, so we're not in any kind of regulatory issue with that. They did want us to pull the light fixtures, which include neon bulbs and old-time ballasts as well, so that they don't go into a construction landfill. So essentially there was nothing in this report that was any kind of problem for us. And again, we authorized the payment for this. The report's complete, and the issuance of this report allows the demolition to occur without any regulatory problems.
Great. 2020.
Dr. LeMay, if I may add on the Americo one, the previous meeting, the council had approved the expenditure for the invoice not to exceed $2,500. We have an invoice in front of us for $1,720 that was received on August 7th. You may want to just direct the clerk's office that it's clear for payment.
I think the council wants to do that, right? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. CCMG Improvement Project, change order, number 1. John, you're involved in that?
Yeah, I don't have the detail in front of me. Essentially, the final paperwork for the CCMG needs to come out of the clerk's office relative to that change order. I don't have it with me, but essentially what it is oh, dear Mary Lou, the final, basically what it amounts to is the final billing for the CCMG work.
I think the major part is we need to follow the steps as indicated by the state to make sure that the proper paperwork is submitted through the clerk's office, not to put in jeopardy any future CCMG paving projects. Unfortunately, in previous years, the town did not submit the proper documentation in a timely manner, and therefore we were passed up on one of the opportunities to receive the 75% match. So we just want to assure that everything is in timely fashion.
So, Mr. Perry, are we good with that? Are we good with submitting the paperwork to CCMG?
Of course, I will submit it as I do everything else on time. Thank you.
You sign there.
Where?
Right here. Oh, no, sign there. I'm sorry. I'll print your name.
Okay. Next, snowplow and salt box purchase request, $24,143 for the street department. I'll make a motion to approve that. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Discussion.
I hope we don't need it.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Tree removal from the town right-of-way, request for additional funding. I believe we have $19,500 left in that fund, but we're gonna need to come up with an additional $500, is that right?
No, sir. We were able to negotiate with Maple City Tree from the current tree budget and the right-of-way maintenance fund. We currently have $19,950. Maple City Tree has submitted a estimate for that exact amount for the trees that are either damaged, dead, or deemed dangerous on the town's right-of-way. And a full list of the trees was shared with the tree board today, and also the full council has a list of the trees. We're just seeking approval to allow Street Superintendent Tom Dolph to move forward with the expenditure.
So we got a $50 discount.
Nope, we're good. We're even.
We got a $50 discount though, right?
Yes, we did. I'm sorry. Yes.
Just, if I can make a quick comment, just so people understand the severity of these situations. We had one drop over on Lothair in the middle of the night one night, a couple of weeks back, and the second half of that's ready to go anytime. There's one out on Chastleton, for instance. If it comes down, it's going to likely hit the fire hydrant that's right there, that's on a plastic main. If that happens, it's going to break that main, and there's going to be just an unbelievable amount of water come flying out of there. There'll be a 20-foot hole before the first phone call comes in. So these things are emergency nature, and we really do need to get these done.
And just so everybody knows, that tree ordinance we just passed tonight, there is a section that says if it's an emergency, that adjacent homeowner is not going to get notified. It's just going to get done. So I'll make a motion to approve this $20,000.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right. Police, fire, radio, firmware, software updates, and reprogramming, $6,500 from the LIT fund.
Yes, a little bit of history on that. Back in 2016, LaPorte County Emergency Services, Police, Fire, EMS had applied and received partially a grant, and then a majority of the expenditures came from LaPorte County government to purchase all in-car radios and portable radios for all of the emergency first responders for the town of Long Beach. Therefore, those radios came at no cost to the town. 2016, fast forwarding to 2023, these radios now require a software firmware update, and also we need to do some reprogramming. Originally, the fire department radios did not have the police department's frequency in their programming. The police department's frequency is an encrypted frequency. We want to add the police department frequency to the fire department radio so the two departments can communicate. Therefore, we need to have a firmware update and reprogramming done to all of the police and fire radios to include anything that is either in a fire truck, in-car, police vehicle, or portable. And the estimated cost for both departments combined shall not exceed $6,500, and we are proposing that it comes from the LIT funds.
I'll make a motion to approve. Is there a second? Discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, public hearing regarding ordinance 2023 regarding amending and restating Title X, Chapter 96, Section 96.1 of the Town Code, charges for garbage and refuse removal and leaf pick. That has been posted.
Yes.
And this is now the public hearing. So I'll open the public hearing. I love doing that. Anybody who wants to speak against can speak now. Anybody on Zoom? Anybody who wants to speak in favor can speak now. Anybody on Zoom? I will close the public hearing. So public hearing is done.
Okay.
Now we can vote on it, correct?
Well, wait a minute, we have to have a little discussion on this. I want everyone to know that Lynn, who effectively retired in June, came in and worked on all these lots. And this is, so we need to keep this in mind. This includes 3 existing customers have commercial parcels, so one would be Camp Properties, that's the hacienda. Little Giant Pizza has 1/2 acre, 0.05 lot, their backyard. And Long Beach Country Club has 26 lots of all sizes. So Lynn's recommendation is that we pass this, but we exclude parcels under 0.05 acres to be excluded. And the other thing is, I've talked to Dr. LeMay earlier tonight. I will talk to the country club and see if they will incorporate their 26 lots into one lot, because if not, they would be paying $462 per year, and it'd be about $5,500 for them. So I'm sure I can convince them.
Yeah.
I'll talk to Annette this week.
So basically, we're gonna find out why they haven't combined their lots. If they combine their lots, then we fix the problem.
Right.
So I'd say I would make a motion to table this until next month.
Is that okay?
bring it
Well,
back.
then Lynn shouldn't start billing in August?
She could start billing everyone else. Well,
Everyone else but those?
You can't start billing something differently until it becomes and we publish. So
Okay.
you could pass it on first reading if you chose to move it along, but, until you understand, maybe we may have some significant amendments here
Okay, let
or
me-
exceptions, so.
So we just aren't gonna charge until next month if we table it?
Let's table.
It's not gonna make any difference, right? If we do it on first reading, we still can't.
I think this one doesn't take effect until the first of the year, isn't that right?
No,
On
it
this?
was July 1st, and we're always a month back. So she's...
Are we confusing?
No.
Hold on. This is the water, this is the one with the water that changed the fire, correct?
Stormwater.
Stormwater. The one that Dr. LeMay is discussing is changing
Yep.
the leaf pickup so that it charges the vacant lots
Oh.
or the, so those are,
Okay.
Yeah.
that other one was approved, but you guys can make that decision and we're not implementing that because that might be a change into how you deal with that previous change. That was the bill that goes out with the water department, charging for fire service, etc. That was going to be effective July 1st, and then Lynn did that research, so that's a separate issue.
Okay.
This one is what Dr. LeMay proposed, and it's couched in the ordinance that has garbage leaf pickup, and it provides charging lots that are not unimproved lots.
So I would make a motion that we pass this on first reading tonight and hopefully pass it on second meeting next month.
And
that-
so Lynn will not activate the civic system to start the process.
Doesn't start till January 1st, yeah.
On this new one, so we're talking
No,
about two
there's two
different
different
things.
things.
The other one is not starting yet, so that you can figure out that issue that came
One
up
is
after the
stormwater and
ordinance.
fire.
That has nothing to do with this one, so as what Mary Lou's saying is, under that ordinance, you were gonna start billing it the first.
Yeah.
The recommendation is that you wait and then revisit it. Lynn is not, my suggestion is Lynn doesn't bill until she received direction from the council.
I'm fine with that, so we'll table it.
Table's fine, I don't care either way.
Yeah, well, that isn't on at
I'm
all.
good.
And then this one, if you pass on first reading, then you can still consider whether,
Okay.
you had your public hearing on it, but you can consider any additional information.
Okay.
And again, the crux of this is charging, which you have not done in the past, for unimproved lots for leaf pickup.
Okay.
And that would not take effect until January 1st.
Great, okay, so we'll table that. So motion to table, is there discussion, or is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, MS4 audit, Reggie Corpus came in, we had the MS4 audit, we passed that pretty much with flying colors. She's gonna give us the draft ordinance for MS4, that'll go to APC, and then hopefully back to the town council. Kelco Enterprises LLC invoice for $6,100 for the second pump. Mark, you're...
Yes, if I could, I'll give you a little bit of history on this. Starting back on February 7th, the town council was alerted through email, through my office, and I'll read the email, it's very brief. Just wanted to keep everyone updated that the town hall septic system lift station needed a repair. The control panel in the garage needed a repair to the electrical system. A relay was not working and the pumps went into failure. The system alarm notified us of the failure. Kelco, the technicians that have serviced the panel and originally installed the system in 2001, were able to order a part for the control system. As of today, the part was installed and the lift station is back in full service. The repairs will be paid for from the building maintenance fund. Then on the second email, on Wednesday, May 31st, sent to the town council, through my office. Good evening. The Town Hall Septic System Lift Station operates on 2 separate submersible pumps. Pump 1 that was installed in 2013 is currently not operational. I am in the process of securing an estimate for the cost of installation of the new pump. Till then, we are operating on pump number 2. The pumps typically alternate from one to the other when in full operational cycle. We should have enough funds in the 2023 Town Hall Maintenance Fund to complete this expenditure. Just wanted to keep everyone updated that we are working on the maintenance issue. Then on July 25th, I notified the council through email, the secondary submersible pump in the Town Hall septic lift station was replaced and is now back in service. Repairs will be paid for from the Town Hall maintenance budget. And then lastly, email received to the council on July 31st. Good evening. May 31st email notification to the council that the Town Hall lift station has a pump out of service. Repairs were classified as an emergency because if the other pump had failed, we would have had no septic system nor lift station at the Town Hall. Kelco is also the original installer of the lift station from 2001 when the Town Hall renovation took place. Please let me know if there any additional information is needed. And Dr. LeMay and I also had talked about this, and there's a $6,100 expenditure. There are enough remaining funds in the Town Hall maintenance budget for 2023, and we just ask that the council approve this emergency expenditure to pay for the repair and replacement of the pump.
Is Kelco a registered contractor?
Originally, I did not check on that, and that is my fault, and I take full responsibility for that. In talking to Larry Wall, he tells me that in some cases, when we have to bring in expertise, in this case, Kelco, I would assume would never ever do any other work in the town of Long Beach other than us calling them in on this emergency repair. I have asked that they register. I don't believe they have as to date, but I take full responsibility that I did not check the town's registry, and that is my fault.
So did they register?
I have asked them to do so through email, and to date, I do not believe they have.
Okay.
So I'll make a motion to approve the expenditure. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Discussion.
Is that subject to the concern about making sure that they're registered?
The work is done, Mike. I don't know how you can make it subject to. I think we encourage them to register, but
I think it's the company that we're talking about, not so much the work being done.
I guess one concern I'd have is if we go back now and say they need to register, when the next pump goes out, are they liable to tell us where to go?
So we're approving this, and we're doing an exclusion then to the contractor being registered.
Well, I mean, if...
I'm just asking to clarify.
I guess it's a matter of practicality. I mean, if we wanted to follow the letter of the law, we would make them register, which they really have no incentive to do because the work is done, and, you know, if we don't get paid, we'll be sued. On the other hand, if we want to follow the letter of the law, we could fine them $500, which is the same thing. I mean, what's their incentive to pay the town, and what's going to happen next time a pump goes out?
How much is registration?
I think it's $100.
Well, to clarify, I think it's under the purview of the building commission. So you could give direction to the building commission to follow up on that, because it is under their purview to require and to, you know, pursue any action against them.
I got a point of inquiry on the pump, different subject. Is this pump the same size pump as the one that failed? It's just a replacement of what was previously there. Is that right? Or is this a bigger pump, or?
This is a more efficient pump. It is slightly smaller, and I sent the specifications to the LaPorte County Health Department. I did check with the LaPorte County Health Department, and the Health Department said that no permit was required. However, we shall share with them the specifications of the pump. That was emailed to the LaPorte County Health Department this afternoon and to all the council members as well. That was received from Kelco this afternoon. So.
But the pump is essentially the same type of pump, just a little more efficient because it's a newer pump.
Correct. And it comes with a 3-year warranty. In addition to the discussion about the registration, I had spoke to Larry Wall about this at length as well. And Larry tells me that, the majority of the contract registration process is to protect the homeowners within the town to make sure that they are working with somebody who is licensed, insured, and bonded. I will tell you, it is very difficult to find somebody to work on a lift station. And I agree that if we lose Kelco, who originally put this lift station in 2001, we might be hard pressed to find somebody to work on the town's lift station.
Any other discussion? Okay,
Is there a motion to approve this invoice? Is that
there's
what
a
I heard?
motion and a second.
Okay, so we need to vote on that.
Yep, so all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Haas and Associates, 2 invoices totaling $13,126 regarding Yellow Bear Farms building permit. Basically, the building department had to have Haas and Associates look at this building because, again, it's 12,000 square feet, 7 bedrooms. I have no idea how many bathrooms and what else. And so...
It's okay, Bob, you don't have to clean the bathrooms.
I don't, no, I won't be. And so, basically, we need to pay the Haas and Associates $12,126.25 for their work, and then we will be reimbursed by the Yellow Bear Farms folks for that. But we need approval to pay Haas and Associates.
I make a motion to pay Haas and Associates and then get reimbursed by Yellow Bear.
Somebody else want to second it?
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Larry?
Dr. LeMay, if I could, on a housekeeping matter on that particular topic, we probably need to come up with the procedures on how we're going to invoice the resident, the homeowner, to seek the reimbursement. I think we're still maybe a little unclear on that. So that we have kind of a follow through to make sure that payment's received, since the town's going to be paying it initially up front.
How about a letter from the clerk's office?
So, can we instruct?
Yeah, the clerk's office just generates an invoice, I would think.
Yeah.
And essentially, our ordinances allow for this in many instances. If the shoreline protection has verbiage in there for it, and I believe our regular ordinances have verbiage in it for it if the town requires engineering.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wondered if it wouldn't be better for the homeowner to pay Haas and Associates directly, but I was told that Haas and Associates is the town's contractor, engineer, and so it really wouldn't be appropriate to do it that way, although it would be cleaner, for sure.
Yeah, it would be. We don't have to run it through the books.
They don't like that. Okay, Larry Wall, Building Commissioner pay classification. So we were told that Larry Wall is now a contractor, or has been a contractor. I guess Mr. Perry was told by the State Board of Accounts that it would be preferable if he was a town employee. So right now we have, what's the gal's name from Sender?
Trista.
Trista checking on that just to see if indeed that's what we have to do or if that's just a preference. Because really for us to change the way we're doing things, I think would be difficult for the town, but it could be done. Larry doesn't have any strong opinion one way or another. It's not going to affect how much he's paid. And so right now I would say let's table that until we hear back from Trista. I think I already talked about that Payrock system, so we can forget that one. Okay, Clerk Treasurer's Office year-to-date expenses related to all clerk/water office employees. 6 days ago I asked Mr. Perry for a report on that. Mr. Perry, do you have something for us?
Well, I responded 6 days ago, and I'll happily read that response if you'd like, but...
No, Mr. Perry, do you have the report?
I have a report in process for all the departments, not just my own. There's no point in looking at just my department. Let's look at all of them to make sure we're in budget for each and every one of them, not just a public trial for Tim Perry at every council meeting. There's no point in it other than your vendetta.
Yeah, you weren't here at the Budget and Finance Committee when all the other departments gave their reports. In fact, you haven't been here for the last 2 Budget and Finance meetings. I'd like to just point out that, you know, the clerk treasurer is a member of that committee, and in fact, especially when we're developing the budget for next year, it's rather critical that the clerk treasurer attend those meetings.
Well, yes, but when the departments misrepresent their expenses, and when I can't get true figures on pending lawsuits and legal fees, what's the point of budgeting if I don't have numbers to budget with?
Okay, so what I would like is I'd like to know what's budgeted, what we spent last year and the year before.
For all departments, I'll have that, no problem.
Okay? For the clerk treasurer's office, I'm particularly interested in, okay?
I'll throw all of them in there for extra credit, don't worry.
You know, I guess I'm struck that the clerk treasurer's office has expanded rather dramatically during your tenure. You know, Bill Defuniak took care of both the water department and the clerk treasurer's office with just him and Deanna. How many clerk treasurer deputies do you have now? Because I understand we have a new one.
Well, when Bill Defuniak was there, he had Helen and he had Lynn also.
He had Lynn and
How many deputy clerk treasurers do we have now?
We have Deanna, we have Lynn part-time, who was retired, but is helping on the project like Mary Lou mentioned. Honor.
Is she in fact, are they both in, go ahead, I won't interrupt you, go ahead.
Honor was under my purview, but was capped at 20 hours a week, but now works under the chief and works approximately 35 to 40 hours a week, but her hours are still being billed to my department. For some reason, we need to adjust that. Laurel replaced Helen, who, as I mentioned, was there when Bill was there. So I think net, it's about the same. Year-to-date expenses with Sender through June of 2023 were about what they were from to year-to-date June 2022. We don't have the year-to-date for them through August yet. I talked to Trista about that, and they're working on it. So I don't see a big difference. It's complicated work, Doctor. We're doing the best we can. When you refuse to pay anybody in my office any more money but require more work, that's really not how it works. Deanna has been there 18 years and is just about the lowest paid person in the town. It's a shame that we overload her and pay her so lowly. So we'll get the figures to you, but I think it'll be an eye-opener when you see how far over budget the other departments are in relation to ours. Thank you.
Okay, because my numbers suggest that year-to-date you've paid your 4 people in the clerk treasurer's office $52,785.82. The people in the water department, $29,645. And that's in addition to your $34,000 a year. At Sender and Company, you paid $12,000 just in the month of June. These numbers are, I'm sure, way, way over budget. They're certainly way, way over what Mr. Defuniak cost the town.
I don't think so. I beg to differ. And really, I mean, again, let's look at the numbers for every department. Let's look at the $550,000 bill we're going to have from the town of Michigan City for the sewer project that didn't work out. Let's look at the ever-growing bill for the public safety building. I mean,
you can deflect all you want, Mr. Perry, but bottom line is you have abused your office.
Deflect, you're the king of deflecting. You're the one talking about $60 late fees from my department when we're throwing money around like it's, you know, going out of style.
Are you saying your late fees are fine? Is that what you're saying? Oh, okay.
I'm not saying fine. No, sir. I said $60 is small in relation to all the other money being spent. And that, on your part, is deflection.
Let's move on.
All right, Sender and Company, year-to-date, $11,956. That's in June. We haven't gotten July's bill yet, but it'll probably be higher because I know Trista's been doing a lot of your work.
And it was your recommendation we hired them, by the way. Let's not forget about that. Thank you.
Yeah, well, that would keep us out of trouble with the State Board of Accounts.
You can't have it both ways, and we are being looked at by the State Board of Accounts, not for things my office is related to.
Salary ordinance for 2024 preparations, set timelines for ordinance. So we have a timeline for that, John?
I'm not involved in the salary ordinance right now. I think that's the HR department.
Oh, I'm sorry. Where are we
The
at?
chief and I, well, our group will meet in September and we'll be ready. We won't be late.
Okay. Unapproved,
I had something here that's not on the agenda, and I think it's on who can sign checks.
That's coming up.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
what's
that's
it
coming
called?
up. That's the new agenda item that I added, the internal
Okay,
controls.
all right, great. I didn't see what the name of it, okay.
So unapproved courtway behind 2223 and 2225 Lakeshore Drive. I think I sent everybody an email on that. I asked folks to go take a look at it. There's an alley that's right off of Chastleton. It's the roadway to the right before you hit Lakeshore Drive. And basically, it's a dead-end alley.
I think Coker should pay for that.
Well,
it's right behind his house.
Well, I looked at it and I got a couple thoughts. I hope you're all familiar with the property, but to put that alley in, you'd have to remove some trees back there, that's for sure. And there is quite a difference of elevation back there. I talked to Tom Dolph and he said, yeah, that'd be a bit of a project. And the other thing is that garage that's back by John Coker's house, that would prevent that alley from going all the way straight through to, what's that street on the other side? John?
Hazeltine?
Hazeltine. So to me, all we would be doing is extending that alley for two houses. And I guess my thought is that the folks who live there, you know, they bought it without an alley behind there. I'm not sure it's the town's obligation to give them a driveway, but I'm open to other people's comments. Other comments?
I would only say that we have other situations, not exactly similar to this, but there are other areas in town up in 16, 17 that are similar in nature, meaning that they're not improved, the roads are not improved. So if we want to entertain doing one, we ought to look at all of them because we have areas that are similar to this in nature that are right-of-ways that were not improved in the original town roadway system. So if we want to do this, we probably should canvass all of them and decide if we want to do anything with any or all of them.
I think the reason for the homeowners, and I haven't talked to them, but they have to park on Lakeshore Drive, and as we all know, that's touchy at best on weekends. And I think that's their main concern is everybody else on Lakeshore Drive can park behind their homes between 22 and 23, but these 2 or 3 homeowners can't. And that's the problem. I see where the problem is, but the terrain of that area, like Doctor just said, there's a dip down there and take a lot of fill to level out. So I don't know what the answer is. Good earth moving equipment to solve the problem, but
I'll entertain a motion. Or if we're doing nothing, we don't have a motion. So I guess we'd need a motion if we wanted to improve it. All right, so not hearing a motion, we'll move on. Town welcome signs. People have been concerned about our town welcome signs. While I admit they're not the most beautiful, we have had a great decrease in the number of unregistered contractors doing work in the town. So they have accomplished that. They're not the most attractive. They don't show up at night, but then again, we don't have a lot of contractors coming in at night. I was given a letter from Tom King where he talked about, he suggested on, what's in our name?
Next door.
What's it called?
Next door.
Yeah, why don't you take care of this, Mike? You summarize it. You're the one.
Yeah, I don't really spend any time on Nextdoor, but my wife caught this particular post by Tom King, which I thought was very thoughtful. And I thought it was important enough and to bring it to the table for discussion. After his posting, it got a lot of favorable response on Nextdoor. It's very, very short, so I'll read it to you so you kind of get the flavor of his remarks. I think they were very thoughtful. Do many others wish we could do more to enhance the entrances to Long Beach? We have our iconic pillars leading inland at many points on Lake Shore Drive, but the entrances from Carwick and Moore Road do not share the same attractiveness and sophistication. This post is not to elicit criticism of the new signs, rather I'm checking the level of interest in proposing something more to our town government. I am looking for positive ideas and I'd be happy to present them if there is sufficient interest. What about adding the same pillars and lighting from Lakeshore Drive to the other entrances? Historically, all entrances to the town had signs that read something like Long Beach, beautiful, let's keep it so. Perhaps we could incorporate the same with a refreshed look. Perhaps we could add masonry, welcome to Long Beach, signage to new pillars or something. Just some thoughts. I look at the nice entrances to nearby communities and hope we can do more. And if there are not available funds, perhaps we can raise monies for a project. Thoughts? And again, as I mentioned, his comments were very favorably responded to on Nextdoor. And I simply bring it up because we're representing obviously the residences of our community, and I think that was good input. And so I just open it up for discussion.
Well, I want to say, prior to us, four of us being on the council, the Long Beach Civic Association offered to put up, it was a very tasteful sign, and they couldn't please the council, so they backed away. It was a very tasteful sign.
I think the reason that some objection to that is, and the Civic, I think, was going to put up about 25,000. There was a substantial sum. And some people objected to the wording of the verbiage that said, welcome to Long Beach. They didn't like the welcoming aspect of it, which I found strange. But
I wonder if Long Beach Civic would like to talk to this council about that. That might be it. Anybody have any connections with Civic?
Civics? Let me think about that. Well, John Mingle's
on it.
Oh, he might be open to that.
Like Megan Apple.
Actually, John Yoder, I believe, is still the president. He lives down here on Oriole. But yeah, so it was before John Yoder's time. They worked with Nick Meyer, and they couldn't please the prior council was hard to please. Yeah.
Well, why don't we put out some feelers? You want to maybe talk to those folks?
I'll send them an email and say,
Great.
hey, what do you think?
Okay.
I got to put that on my to-do list.
All right.
Thank you for putting this on the agenda.
Yeah. Okay, and finally, internal controls. We've got a suggested resolution from Trista. Was concerned about availability for signatures at the clerk's office. And basically what this, I guess, does it have to be read at the meeting, Chris?
Doesn't have to be read.
Okay, but basically to allow other deputy clerks, other people working in the office to sign checks so that they can go out in a timely fashion. I think everybody's seen that, right? Anybody have any objection to it? I'll make a motion to adopt this resolution. Is there a second?
I second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Public comments. Let's start in person first.
I'm sorry, do you hear me at all?
No, we're not doing Zoom yet, but we will, so stay right there.
Public comment.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Anita Remages, stop 23 or 2300 Florimond. There is a court reporter and a stenographer at every meeting, and it would seem to me that these minutes, if they are in fact being done by the clerk treasurer or the deputy clerk treasurer, that would be an easy way to solve an issue of how accurate these minutes are. And they are important. I remember years ago going back through a lot of minutes, and I do the minutes for Park Board, and I try to be precise and complete. So it's just a suggestion. We do have a court reporter at every single meeting. In terms of the NIPSCO bills that Park Board asked about, Ms. McFadden, I appreciate that you jumped in and said, I know somebody, I can do it. But I think the history is that Joyce Schmidt has asked several times, Joe Jogman has asked, and Chief Swistek at the community center meeting today said that he has asked. We used to get these. I understand that Deanna said she will get them and she's busy. If our clerk treasurer was in the office, Deanna would still be able to be getting the bills done. I'm sorry. Oh, I thought you were closing your eyes when I said something. That the bills would still be able to come out as they had been done until January, apparently. The politicizing is obvious. Mr. Perry jumps in with things. Something as simple. I'm sorry, what? Something as simple as an email that was sent to a number of people about the groundbreaking ceremony on August 25th at 10. It went to a number of people, I mean, many, different departments, and it was pushed back to Chief as the town administrator. The clerk treasurer has always handled all of the emails, and it was just an email saying, yeah, I don't want to do it, you do it, Chief, you handle it. You council members are supposed to represent the interests of the town, including me as a resident. If you're not aware of the clerk treasurer's many deficiencies, you should be. And if you are aware, shame on you. And I've used those words before for protecting the clerk treasurer, for supporting his lack of work ethic and his general lack of work. I find it hard to accept that you three, particularly Mr. Coker, Mr. Johnstone, and Ms. McFadden, would accept this level of incompetence in your own work. And it is costing our town money. It's not just a matter of $60 a month. As a resident, the concern of costs, it's just concerning to me that there are red flags out there, that he's not doing his job. It's been brought up every month. And he still has another 4.5 months and access to everything in the town. And I hope that you would look at yourselves and look at what you know and vote accordingly. Thank you.
Any other comments here in the room?
I'm Ellen Lynch again, and I live at 2225 Lakeshore Drive. I'm the one that wrote the letter about the alley behind our two homes. My neighbor and I are we were like, why didn't it go through when they were putting it in? And part of the reason is access to the backyard. Also, all the electric is back there. The pole is in my backyard, and NIPSCO or anyone would need to get back there, come in my house, come down to my driveway when that would be something that they would keep clear. I already have some tree branches I have to cut up because they're going to fall on the pole wires. I guess, and I know it's an elevation. I know Tom is wonderful. We're not looking for it to go through. We just want access to the back of our house. I mean, we're not looking for a huge money project for that alley, but we're concerned like why we never were included when that whole alley was put in. So I guess I just felt like I should say something since I was sitting in the audience. So
how long ago was it put in?
I don't know. When we moved in, we started. I remember we had Tom come out and he was cutting some trees down and stuff like that. And I hate doing hearsay, but my back neighbor is Mr. Keene, and he said he didn't want that to go through and that he had kept it from going through. True, not true, I don't know. All I know is that I have a very long driveway. I have access to my backyard. My next door neighbor is landlocked. She can't get to anything. She's got 2 parking spots in the front, which are really town property, and it's just landlocked. And then not only that, but we do have all the electrical back there. So just concerned, and it's not like it's an emergency or it's going to be on the 23 budget or anything like that. We would just like to start the paperwork and hopefully be able to get some of that done, or maybe just add a couple trees every year to have taken down there so we could get back there and just put stone down or something so we can get to our yards. That's all.
Thanks, Al. Okay, any other public comments here? All right, now public comments from Zoom. 20 people. Did anybody raise their hand?
Rima did.
No.
I'm online. Can you hear me?
I hear you.
Very good. I'm Rima Binder at 2709 Roslyn Trail, Long Beach, a member and past president of the Beach Garden Club. We have discussed the signage coming into Long Beach, and we would like to be involved in developing and designing a sign that is welcoming to this community. The sign really says, "Welcome to Long Beach," and the next thing you see is the registration of construction and designers. And I know I've tried to hire a few people and sent them to town hall, and I've never seen them again. The process may be very difficult. I don't know. But I think our club has been around for 90 years in this community. And I would like to suggest that the civic and other clubs and organizations in this community get together, be neighbors, and design a club that be representative of who we are as Long Beach. We're and neighbors together, working together, and enjoying the beach community. So I would really ask and suggest that their committee be developed and those signage be either restored to what we have or new signage be made, constructed that is really representative of who we are as a community. Thank you very much.
Anybody else on Zoom?
Yes, I'll make a public comment. I'm Tim Perry at 1802 Lakeshore Drive. My performance gets brought up every month by the same person. That's why it's brought up every month. And if that person is so concerned about the finances of the town, she can start by paying her fine for using an unregistered contractor and have her contractor pay his fine for performing work in Long Beach, potentially environmentally dangerous work in Long Beach. Thank you.
That's inaccurate.
Any other comments?
Yes. Jim Diener, 2300 Fairway Drive. So just as a point of reference, I understand we are having a groundbreaking ceremony next Friday, the 25th. Ground seems to be broken, but we'll have the ceremony. And as a celebration, I think it would be appropriate if we extended the invitation to not just everyone in the town of Long Beach, but to everybody in the county of LaPorte, since it's through their generosity that we are going to be the beneficiaries of a new public service building. So that's first. Second, I just want to make a point of reference with regard to, we've used the terminology septic systems. And while I'm sitting here, I looked up the definition according to the United States EPA. And the definition of a septic system are underground wastewater treatment structures that use a combination of natural and technological processes to treat wastewater from household plumbing produced by bathrooms, showers, kitchen drains, and laundry. We do not have a septic system. We're going to have a holding tank, and we're going to be having pump and haul. And that's okay if that works, and it probably will work. But for going forward, let's get the terminology correct, because I understand in today's town council meeting, we were getting very specific about being correct in matters. So thank you.
Anyone else on Zoom? Any council comments? Claims approval.
Claims approval. Town checks 19999 through 20068 totaling $213,990.45. Water Department checks numbers 54747 to 54769, totaling $128,611.33. July payroll, $96,659.53. That includes summer camp. I will entertain a motion for approval.
I'll approve that. Is there a second?
Second. I'm sorry.
Discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Make a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.